Alright, I hope you guys are doing well. Wanted to do a video here on GM, and then I will also briefly touch on Fiat Chrysler. The ticker symbols on that, GM is just GM, as you can see up here, and then Fiat Chrysler will be FCAU. But wanted to dive into GM just as a possible pinching situation seems to be going on, or a pennant formation. So I'm going to start out here on the weekly, mainly focusing on right here, dating back into 2012, all the way through the present, and really looking at this upward trend here. Along with this downward trend that we have seen since late of 2017, where we hit some highs up here around $45 a share, and now we are getting pinched in between this upward trend and this downward trend. So it's a multi-year squeeze going on. And you can see we just kind of ping pong back and forth in this little price channel, but dating back the start of this trend line being back here in mid 2012, started to ping off of it a couple of times here in 2015. You can see this large extended wick. We have a couple more wicks on it, and then it wasn't until about 2018 where we've had a couple more encounters on it that really kind of validate it and make it a little bit stronger of a trend line. And we've just seen some more reactions off of it. And once again, we have bounced off of the trend line, or at least for now, it looks as if we have bounced off of it. So we can move in a little bit closer, and you can kind of see what it is that I'm looking at here. And it seems as if each time that we do break or we touch on this trend line, we seem to have a pretty nice reversal back up to the upside. And we tend to, within a couple months' time, we come and we tap this upper bound once again, and you can see here by the end of, say, June, moving into July, we will probably have a direction whether we are moving to the upside or the downside. But as of recent, you can see we have a lot more encounters with this upward trend. You can look back towards late November, and now currently we have bounced on it. I'll go ahead and move it into the 1-year daily chart. And you can kind of see where we are sitting. So a couple days now that we've just been sitting on this trend line, moving back and forth, up and down, to kind of see which way we're going to break. We had another green day today, or we closed flat, but we were up for a good portion of the day and then dipped back down. We do have this price oscillator, which is still moving down, but if we continue to kind of consolidate and press higher, I think that this will flatten out and start to curl back up to the upside. You can see the RSI is starting to creep up a little bit, which would suggest that we do have some more buyers that are starting to come in. We'll look here on the 4-hour, and this also kind of confirms we have price oscillator pointing up as the price is kind of consolidating, forming together, and moving back up. RSI is moving up, and then also on the hourly chart, when you look a little bit closer, you can kind of see that over these past couple of days, we haven't really traded below $35 a share. We dipped below it this morning just briefly, and then saw some large orders come in and move the price back above, right around that $35.30 mark, and then kind of consolidate. And we did have a bounce off of that price today, that $35 price point right in here, and then we moved back up before kind of moving back down a little bit before the market closed. But when we're looking at it here, just on the daily chart, this would be a pretty nice gain, even if you were to take it from 35, up, say, right in here, right in the middle of it. You're looking at about a 4% gain up to 36.50. And then if you were to take it up to the upper bound, I'm not saying that it would happen this fast, but it could be, upwards of 8%. If it were to take a little bit longer, it could be about 6.5%. But as this long-term trend suggests, this will continue this pattern until we have a break from one side or the other. Now that a break could happen here, it could break to the downside, it could fall apart, this trend could fall apart. One thing that I would look at would be if we continue to dip lower than the lows that we set back here. So if we were to break through 34 and continue kind of falling, that would show signs that this is deteriorating and maybe this multi-year trend is now come to a close. And usually you'll see that before we really get pinched in these later stages of these pennants. You'll see a break prior to then. It'll be close to the end, but most of the time they won't just fizzle through. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. I'm going to go ahead and shift gears here and move on over to FCAU. So this is going to be Fiat Chrysler. So this is another autos stock. And what I thought was kind of curious about this one, if we go to the weekly again, I do like to look at the longer time frames. You can see I have a target marked on there just to keep my eye on it from a day-to-day. But we have this nice little, kind of, it almost looked as if we were going to start to form a cup and handle potentially, or maybe just like a bowl over the course of this year, as this has been a long downtrend. But you can kind of see that it's slowly been getting more compacted with this zigzag pattern or whipsaw pattern. And then we finally, on the last earnings, we had this nice little pop. And it was about like a 20% pop. If you were to take it from, say, that day, it was about a 20% pop. But when you were looking back down here from the past low, it was about 25%. But ever since then, we've been trading back down, and I've been looking to see, where is it that buyers are going to step back in and potentially support this price, or are we just going to continue to fall? So I'm waiting to see some sort of consolidation and, a good move to the upside, or at least, the initial press to the upside. But over these past few weeks, it has just been nothing but down. If we go ahead and move into a 1-year daily chart, here again, you can kind of see these whipsaw patterns that I was speaking on and how they were slowly getting tighter and more consolidated until we had that pop. But again, we continue to trade to the downside, lower and lower. My next level that I'm wanting to look at here is right around 1360 and see what we do there. You can see we're down about 1 3/4% today. And really showing no signs of stopping as far as moving to the downside. Ideally, I would like to see us down here around 13 or even 1260. So right in here, I think would be a nice potential buying opportunity. Again, I would like to see some form of consolidation. We could see a nice little pop or a nice little reversal, but as of now, I'm not really seeing any momentum or positive to the upside that would want me to, or that would suggest to me that this is a good buy. The one good thing that I did see was the divergence here on the RSI. So we'll go ahead and expand that a little bit. And you can kind of see dating back here to 2018, mid to late 2018, we've had this RSI divergence. And as the price has just kind of been slowly going down and down, we've had the RSI going up and up and up and up, and we every time that we hit this line, it seems as if we have maybe a little bit of a pop. You can see these whipsaw patterns kind of also follow this RSI, and so now once again we are tapping on this trend line, and you can see it's not perfect. Sometimes we come up a little short, sometimes we poke through it, so it's not like if we hit this value it's definitely going to pop back to the upside. It could dip a little bit lower before moving back up. This is a weekly time frame, so you have to keep that in mind, but that could show some potential support or some potential reasons as to why FCAU could move up in the near future if we start to see buyers that move in. Maybe this dips down a little bit lower and is a little bit more of a better deal, and then we start to see the buyers rolling in maybe towards the later stages of this month But anyway, that was just my idea on FCAUs. Just something that I like to look at from time to time because it can have these nice little patterns where you can continuously make money if you play them right. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you gained a little bit of insight. If not, let me know how I can do these videos a little bit better, maybe provide you guys with a little bit better information. So thank you again for watching.